I do my best to read all the responses to my videos, and this video is in response to a very thoughtful comment I got under the one I did about the proposed name change for George Washington University, which was published in the Wokington Post, another suggestion that one of my commenters made. And this had been put forward in the Wokington Post under the title of an opinion piece. Now, I keep talking about the degeneration of the English language in these videos, and I have to make the observation here that the word opinion is being appallingly misused in that case. I think what the editorial team meant was not opinion, but the bilious ramblings of a malignant little turd who'd managed to get through almost 4 years of university and seemed to believe that renaming the place would improve everything. He probably just wanted something easier to spell. Anyway, it reminded me of the KGB. Now, what was the KGB? What was the I got it down here. Komitet Gosdarstvenoi Bezopasnosti. I'm sorry, Russians. Anyway, it means the Committee for State Security in Russian. And recently, the past few years, it was disbanded and then reformed. And it was renamed the FSB, which is Federalnaya Sluzhba Bezopasnosti, which means the Federal Security Service. And that's made a huge difference to the way it acts, hasn't it? Anyway, another earth-shattering idea that this opinion piece had was that there should be an African Studies department and more African languages should be taught at George Washington University, or whatever it is to be called. Now, I did mention in my video, because I knew there were several languages in Africa, but I was concentrating on another target, i.e. the opinionated little, I'm not going to repeat the word again. I did mention that if you learnt Zulu, that was unlikely to help if you needed to talk to an Igbo. But I said that in passing, and the response I got under that video was one in which the correspondent pointed out that there are no fewer than 1,500 languages in Africa, and there could be as many as 2,000. The comment goes as follows. I've cut it a little. Under African languages, UC Berkeley offers Amharic, Igbo and Kiswahili. I'm not sure how sub-Saharan you could call Amharic. It's Ethiopian and it's down the fertile area. So it's not strictly sub-Saharan, it's sort of side-Saharan. But yeah, UC Berkeley offers Amharic, Igbo and Kiswahili. Estimates of the number of languages in Africa range between 1,500 and 2,000, so no matter how many African languages a university teaches, there will always be room for grievance that it does not teach another. And he's absolutely right. I also have to point out that at London University, there's a whole college dedicated to the teaching of such languages, but it's an entire college. It's called SOAS, the School of Oriental and African Studies. So just a department about Africa is not possible. For instance, Nigeria, which is one sub-Saharan African country I know most about, has 500 languages just on its own. You can see why English is the language an educated Nigerian would need to communicate with other Nigerians, let alone with other Africans. And here we get to the important bit. Sub-Saharan Africa isn't a country. It's a continent well, almost a continent, and it seems that a lot of Americans, particularly Americans, but yeah, other people, other countries too, but especially the woke Americans, because they tend to think in groups and batches, you know, like egg boxes. Well, they think of Africa as just one country. Well, everybody's black there. What difference does it make? I mean, these are the anti-racists, and they don't see that the people in Africa are more different from each other than people in Europe. Because, well, there's a geographical reason for it, but a lot of African communities or villages or tribes or whatever grew up in almost complete isolation from other ones, so that there was very little cross-fertilisation. That's part of the problem for Africa's social and economic problems right now, but I'm not going to get into that. I suppose some of the idea that Africa is a country is that North America, if you're brought up in North America, I mean, technically it's not a continent in its own right, because it's slightly joined onto the South America bit, but it comes pretty damn close to being a continent in its own right. And you can drive right across it. I'm talking about the United States and Canada. You can drive right across it. You could crisscross it all over the place. And you still find everyone speaks the same English, and they all have I don't know what, you know, McDonald's or Tootsie Rolls or whatever they're called in the shops. There's always this similarity there. So if you're something like that Caleb, opinionator, and you don't think too deeply about these things, you're going to get the idea that that's how everyone is. But it's not just Caleb, of course. I noticed that attitude. Now, I want to give you a good example of how even scriptwriters who've been through university, most of them, you know, done journalism and English degrees. I've seen some very witty and deep thinking literary references in a lot of Star Trek scripts, which leads me to believe that most of the Star Trek, well, the original ones anyway, the script writers were very educated people, but they still had this attitude, even at that time. Let's take an example, the Romulans and the Klingons. Now, they all talk the same language, and they all have the same culture, don't they? Look, let's take the Klingons, for instance. They live on a planet. Now, just look at all the different sorts of people, religions, and physical types we have on our planet. I mean, me, I'm 5'2", and I'm sort of this slightly short, curvy type of shape. And you stand me next to somebody from Somalia who's, you know, 6'5" and like that thin. And he's a completely different physical type. And that's on the same planet. But you don't see that with the Klingons, do you? Yet basically all Klingons are the same. Well, depending on when the program was made, of course. But they all look the same. And perhaps that might be part of the reason for some of the worst American foreign policy mistakes. You see, there may be this idea somewhere at the back of the mind that those people over there, well, they're all the same. Anyway, there you are. And Richard, I did say I was going to think about your comment, didn't I? And, well, I've fulfilled your 5 minutes of fame. Okay, well, that's it. I am Grannyopteryx. I am to be found on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. On Minds when it's less than 20 minutes long. I think this one was a fair shorty. When I've uploaded a video, I let you know about it on Twitter, Gab and Parler. and there I am at Graniopteryx. So if you subscribe to one of those, then you'll get the notifications, because YouTube is a little erratic in that way. Okay, that's it. Please like this video, share it, contribute to the channel if you can. Write your opinions underneath. I really do like reading what you have to say. Well, most of the things you have to say anyway. And yeah, I think that's about it. Till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Granbow with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com, and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.